If by some chance, some stroke of luck, or some act of God, you have stumbled upon this broadcast, you are listening to the Chivalry Chronicles with your host, Dr. DLH.
I'm a damn doctor.
David.
We're going to bring the tea.
refuse to not drink during the podcast.
Yeah.
And me, Jaime.
They need to make podcast equipment a lot more expensive to get some of these clowns off the air.
Gather around as we discuss a modern, manly approach to chivalry. So I hope you're ready, because I know we are. So let's get into it.
You need some help with that?
Come on, that's one beer and we're back.
There was scotch right there.
Oh my God.
You
We're
didn't-
here
Oh.
once again with the Chivalry Chronicles. We have DLH and David. How's it going, gentlemen? Good to see y'all again. I know it's been a while. I wanted to tell the listeners out there we put out a podcast every 2 weeks. Hit like, and if you don't like it, hit don't like twice. That way we'll really get it.
Is there a don't like option?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hit the thumbs down twice.
I mean, I only ever look at the thumbs up.
If the thumbs down doesn't exist, hit the like button 3 times, and then that will.
I don't even think you can do that.
Yeah, you just
No, you
hit
can't. You
hit
just keep
3
hitting
times,
it.
and that lets us know that you don't like
Yeah.
it, and that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. We'll live
Yeah.
with it.
Or just leave a comment and we'll interact.
Leave a comment. I know some people have commented, which is cool. I read them. I try to respond whenever I see it. Also, send us a text. I know some listeners have done that. And buy us a beer, if you want to do that. I know we've gotten some money for some beer, and
Yep. Beer and bourbon.
we appreciate it. Thank you to the listeners out there that have sent us stuff. And if you would, DLH is going to take a picture of our desk here, and
I am?
there's like
Okay.
2 bottles.
Yes, that were listener contributed.
There's no, neither one of these. But this is what we would have bought.
If you come through with the contributions. Oh, look,
Yeah.
got you drinking right there.
So today, I figured since we're back, it's the new year. We talk about. I know DLH had mentioned that he wants to get back more to chivalry. So, DLH, what does chivalry look like today?
Chivalry today is all over the place.
What the hell? They crop dust the chivalry everywhere.
Well, I mean, I do think that there's a lot of people who are going to view chivalry as an antiquated notion,
Yes,
right? And it does have,
but then quietly teach it to their
it does
to their
have
kids.
its historical. Do you by chance have a historical definition that is brought up, and then we can extrapolate that to more modern times?
Well, the one that I have is a medieval code of conduct for knights in Europe.
Which is it's very general, right?
Yeah.
So if we were going to talk about chivalry in general, then it is the better qualities of, I would say, humankind, not even just like men specifically. But when you
But I think we need to keep it to men, because
okay,
that's
but men have
because
historically been
once
the ones.
we broaden it, then it loses.
No.
I think so.
Here's what it is. You have behaviors that are chivalrous, but the men historically have been looked upon as the ones who should be carrying that out and
Correct.
and enforcing that amongst each other, right? So when you think about that, there should be some level of integrity, some the honesty, the
It's courage, honor,
courage,
courtesy,
but
justice.
there's a bunch of virtues in that. But what did those mean, right? And it's doing what's right even when no one's watching. That's your integrity,
Right.
But sticking up for those who are voiceless or can't stick up for themselves. And then, of course, we always put chivalry as in taking care of those who we felt were in our charge, which are generally women and children, right?
Right.
So those are
And the elderly.
and the elderly, sure, if you want to put them in, those are the broad strokes. And the thing is that I think in simpler times, it might have been a bit easier to define that. And now with our current society being,
But we have Google now, so we can
but there's
define it all day.
Yeah, but there's a lot of minutia in every single area, right? So what does that look like?
Right.
Then you're saying that in today's society we're defining chivalry different in actions or subset or what?
No, I think the definitions broadly remains the same. It's just it starts to look a little different because society and the world has evolved.
Okay, well, we need to define it. Then let's define it. Based on this topic.
We're doing that now because the virtues that you brought up, right, which are some of them in the night, like the knightly codes, right?
Correct.
When you're looking at all of those things of valor, honor, courage, all of those things, which in themselves are sort of broader terms.
They're broad, yeah.
I think it brings into mind what we're talking about, right?
Loyalty, honor,
all those
bravery,
things that
all that
are the higher virtue, the things that people in general should aspire to and look up to. But what they looked like back in the 1500s is different than what it looks like now. Not altogether different, but when you are looking out for women and children now, some of the optics are a little different now than they were back then. I think that there was a little simpler because women back then maybe were held down to you're in the house, and all I got to do is protect the house, protect the
must
woman at
protect
home
this house,
and the children, right, and like all of that stuff. But now protection for that means a little more than that, in my view. I think that when women want to do more in the workplace and they want equal pay and they want all of those things, I do believe it is up to us to be able to speak on their behalf and say, stop holding them back just because they're a woman. You should be rating their skill like you would any person and pay them accordingly, right?
I think some of the issues that I'm not speaking on women's issues because... but I'm going to speak on women's issues.
Okay. All right, glad to hear.
I think one of the issues that I've noticed as somebody that's worked, I think 26 years now in engineering world, which is predominantly male. So what I think with most women that are in the engineering community, what they run into, and it's probably all women, but I'm talking about these women, is when they get married and then they have a kid, right? So they usually take off 6 months, maybe a year, maybe longer. And so I think that impedes their progress, right? While you're at home because you chose that, you and your family made that decision. Nobody told you to stay home, right? You made that decision. I know my wife did. Your counterpart that came in at the same year, they're continually working and moving ahead. And so I think that it's inherent to being a woman, right? If you want to have kids, like you want to also fulfill that role of staying home, at least for the first year or so. So I think that kind of holds them back. And it's an issue, but I don't know what the answer is, right? Like, what do you do? If they're both the same age, the same qualifications, but the male has 4 or 5 years more experience and the female has 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, who does the job go to?
Yeah, but there's an inherent inequity in all of that system anyway with the Family Medical Leave Act, right? Like women,
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally don't know any woman who has decided once having a kid to just take 6 months or a year off.
You haven't?
No, because
Well, they have to take at least 6 weeks off.
But 6 weeks, that's different than 6 months or a year.
No,
because that's all your job pays you, and your job pays you only so far, and then after a certain amount of time, when you go beyond that, they don't even guarantee your job. Right. And so for those who have to come back into the working field, you don't have the luxury of 6 months to a year unless your family is in a situation where that's a specific choice.
My wife was out for about a year.
Yes. Now, and then when this came up too for us, when we had my son, who's now 14, right? But when my wife and I were both working, she made more money than me. And we both took leave. And she stayed out as long as she could, and then I stayed out as long as I could. And then when it came time, it made the most sense for her to go back to work and for me to stay at home. So I did the stay-at-home parent thing because it just made more sense for us.
No, absolutely.
And what we wanted for our family.
It's whoever makes the most money.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes sense, right? Because if we could have both gone back to work, We could have both gone back to work, but if we had done that, also, it's like now making more money. And we were in New York City at the time, so it's like going to work and spending all those hours at work to pay a large portion of that salary for childcare.
Oh yeah, childcare is ridiculous. It was ridiculous when our kids were babies.
Yeah, there's quite a few people that I know opted to, hey, I'm just not going to work because I'm going to be giving $800 a month or $1,000 or whatever to childcare, and I'm barely making a couple $100 more.
Yes, exactly. And then so it winds up making more sense for me to be the one to raise our kids, right? Yeah. And that's why it made sense there. But yeah, I do think that there's much more that needs to be done in that area. I think largely because when women take this break, whether it would be their 6 weeks or 6 months, it's not like they lose the skill or the ability to do the job. It's more that the job is willing to forego them as employees, right? That makes them not readily able to just come back to work. Right. If we had a better system, I think, in America that valued those workers and said, we're going to let you take this time in order to do what you need to do for your family and bond, because I need you to come back fully prepared mentally to do that, right? And so if it requires you to have 6 months instead of 6 weeks, then whatever the system is for maybe a slight reduction in pay or whatever, but your job is secure.
But even if we had the best system ever, I don't think it fixes the issue of you losing time at work and that other person that came at the same level only goes further.
No, right? I think it does. I think it does largely because I think that when you have experienced being a stay-at-home parent, it better informs the uphill battle of getting back. It's harder than you think. Right.
What do you mean?
Like when you take a break, you have your job, you're doing your job, and then you have to take a break because of the birth of your child, right? And then you're out for a little while, and then your pay ends. But then you have some additional leave that you can take that you have to decide whether it's worth it or not or whatever, because your job is no longer guaranteed. And then if you go and you lose your job because your family situation is such that you can't go back at the moment, as soon as you take that leave, anywhere that you apply to afterwards, where they're like, "What's up with this gap?" Well, parent, you're in a deficit.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't fix the issue that you're going to get left behind because you took that time off.
Yeah, and
you know what I'm saying?
But that's why. How do you fix that?
No, that's what I'm saying. Even if we had the best,
that's what
it doesn't fix it.
Because now here's one thing I don't even know what the stats or anything, because I do know that over in Europe, there's several European countries where they do have 6 months or a full year leave.
Yeah.
And they offer it to both mother and father.
And then they come back to work.
And then they come back. But what I don't know is if they're doing that, if within their workplace, I've never looked at that side of it. Like, are they falling behind? So if the mother over in, let's say, Sweden, for example, takes the full 6 months or a year, whichever one that they offer, comes back, if she gets left behind, like we do see here in the U.S.
Happens.
I don't think
I don't know if it does or doesn't.
No, to my knowledge of the stats, the people that allow that, like, and this is mostly European countries that do this, they allow you to take your 6 months to a year. You come back into your job, and even if the workplace required the promotion of someone that took place while you were gone, you understand that that's a kind of an acceptable hit. I wasn't there, but my job is guaranteed. Those people come back happier because they feel seen, valued, and not in an immediate deficit by coming back to work.
That's a totally separate topic. Then.
Well, sure, because it's a European system.
No. I'm saying it's a separate topic. Period. What I was saying is, like, there's nothing that fixes them falling behind because they've had one kid, then they had another kid, then they had another kid.
And he means falling behind within the workplace,
within their status, as your natural progression of.
It does put you further behind when you lose your job altogether. Yeah. Because then you have to apply somewhere and you're immediately in a deficit.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. It does set you a little further behind. Yes.
Yeah. So we were talking about chivalry.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's get back to chivalry.
How would chivalry apply here?
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't fix it. Like, you're not going to take the promotion because you were there and the other person wasn't.
I'm not saying don't take the promotion, but good
chivalry
leaders
doesn't
No, but good leaders can take a promotion and still advocate for those who are.
I can advocate if you're here.
And they can still advocate for their subordinates.
You
right?
can.
And especially if you take the promotion and you understand that this is an issue, then when you're in a position of power, make change.
But there's nothing to fix it.
I disagree.
Well,
I think that there are things because if you were going to do something as an independent company, who's going to know most of that information? It's going to be the mothers.
But how do you fix it?
It depends on the company. It depends on our federal rules and what you're trying to invoke.
If they fall behind, they fall behind. They have to now double time it to get to where they were before. Like even if you took off, let's say I take off, and not even that. So when I first started working, right, I designed. That's all I did for, 15, 20 years. Then you become a project manager, you do less design. Then you become a higher up, you do even less of that, like the grunt work and all that stuff. So now, like, let's say tomorrow we lose my whole staff and I have to start, creating plans. Even I would have a little bit of, not a hard time, but it would take me a while to get back in the groove of cranking work out, like the actual work that gets done. That's me still being in the business.
Yes.
I'm saying like this person is off for a year. Like I don't know how to fix that.
So
and this has nothing to do with chivalry.
Well,
now.
that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, dude, I feel like I need to hit the rewind button because, like, why are we
drifting
I don't know.
up?
Because as that's a company and a society. Well, not that society doesn't impact chivalry, but how does it?
All right.
There is a lot of minutia.
There's a light tie-in.
There's a lot of minutia in there. What I will say is, if we get back out of the minutia and go back into the broad stroke, right? What I'm saying is that we understand that there is an inequity there that could probably be made more equitable. Okay, and I think that in the chivalry vein,
so let's go back.
We should be.
We're gonna go back.
We should be willing to advocate for what we think is fair. Like if we were the ones that were dealing with that,
we are the ones that are dealing with that.
No. I'm talking about as men, because we like men that continue and don't have men in general are not the ones who are the stay-at-home parent. We're not the ones who take the setback.
we're dealing with it.
Right, but men that are in the positions of power, and then the women that have to take the time off in order to have the kid and do their things, and then the men are usually like, okay, well, you're out, so I'm not concerned with you. And then things just move on. Yeah. And we know that if it was us that was in there, men would fix the problem. If we had to take the time off. If men were required to take the time off and didn't want to take the hit professionally, we would absolutely come up with a way to not do so.
I don't know how to fix it. I mean, I'd have to spend some time
again, that's
it,
the minutia and whatever. So if we're not in the minutia, what I'm saying is that for those of us who pay attention, we know that this is not equitable. And that we should be, even if we don't absolutely know the answer now, we should be seeking one. That would be chivalrous.
That would be. What I'm saying is like, you'd have to spend a shitload of time and resources to find out.
Well, chivalry doesn't come cheap, man.
And I don't have the time or resources. So let's go back. What is chivalry?
So chivalry has limits.
It does. It all has limits. It all has limits. Like I'm not gonna. First of all, I mean, we've had.
Wait, you were going back. You just did the time back.
No, I'm just saying we've had female employees.
Now you're back in the future.
Where's the other button that goes?
Okay, let's go back. All right, let's talk about chivalry in today's world. Is there a time when you know how I think it was Chris Rock that had when
he got slapped at the
when keeping it real goes bad? Is there a time when being chivalrous went bad? Because I got a story to tell y'all, and this is when being chivalrous went bad, right, or went awry.
Are you going to talk about the holding the door open situation?
Here's the deal. So I'm going into the office, right, early in the morning, and there's, if you look at the front of any building, in this building there's two doors. There's one right in front of me, and then one 90 degrees from it, right? So there was another person coming through the other door, and I was coming through my door. And it was a lady, older lady, and she had a bin, like one of those, $7 yellow and black bins. They're not too big, but they're pretty sizable. And she had that plus a cake, right? And me, I was like, you know what? I kind of just double timed it, and she opened the door. Like before I even got there, she opened the door, and I was like, okay, well, then I'm gonna go through my door. And so we get in there, you could tell she's not struggling, but it's carrying those two things are just cumbersome. Yep. And so I said, do you need some help? We're going up the elevator. Like, she's like, no, I got it. I was like, okay. I said, are you sure? I was like, because if you're going to, floor 3, that's where I'm going. She's like, no, I got it. I tell this to my husband all the time. I was in the Army. I did this. I did that. I'm good. And I was like, well, fucking no. It's like, okay, well, cool. And it's like, I think part of chivalry is also if it's received in a I guess in a good manner, maybe because I was like, okay, cool. I just thought I'd offer. I didn't want to like seem like an ass. Like because my mind is always like, if she's going, man, where's chivalry gone?
Even if it was a guy that.
I would offer the guy help too.
Yeah, if he looks like he's struggling or whatever.
Because chivalry is not just for women; it's for anyone.
Yeah, and now like maybe a different approach to that is in how you ask. Like, hey, do you need help? No, she doesn't need help.
Yeah,
but
would you like help?
If or something like, is it okay if I help you? Mm-hmm. That kind of thing.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit too semantic. I think that the overall sentiment is that you were willing to help, right? And I don't know.
No, I fulfilled my duty.
Exactly. So I don't know that there was exactly.
You get your Boy Scout.
Yeah, I got my patch.
And maybe you didn't appreciate like her level of response, but your job was done at that point.
Yeah,
right?
no, I threw my hands up. I was like, okay.
So I'm not sure that was necessarily backlash. I think if you didn't like her response, and like, okay, fine. Well, but
he didn't.
No. What I did
is she beat the hell out of him later.
No. When the elevator doors open, I ran out and pushed her. And
but I think
that'll be chivalrous.
Yeah, I shoved her ass.
I think it's important for us when we go through our day to acknowledge these things where we could maybe
chivalrous,
where we could be chivalrous.
Yeah, no, I think it. What is the story? I'm not religious, but it says when you ask to be brave, they don't automatically make you brave. They give you opportunities to be brave.
Right. But even when you, because I have heard a story before of somebody that tried to hold a door open and this was a woman too, and that this woman was like, "Oh, what, you think I can't open my own doors?" And it was about,
and I said no,
and it was just more about the feminist element of this, and I can do this for myself and whatever. But I think that those are two separate issues, right? Like, I can still offer chivalry. You don't have to take it. You're not required to take it.
Yes.
And if you feel that I was trying to slight you because you happen to be female, no, that was not at all it. And I could just tell you that too. That's not at all why I did that.
Yeah.
It would have anybody who's coming behind me. It's not because it was you. It's because it was a person.
Yeah.
And then I was just offering to be nice.
I think there's I don't know why it always happens going in my office, but there's this other gentleman that was in one of those little I think it's called rascals. I don't know, but they're the little cars, like the people that can't really walk that well. It has a little 4 wheels. It looks like
a scooter.
Yeah, like a little scooter.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get in the door, but in those scooters, you can't reach. Yeah. You can't. It's hard. And he's like, oh, they didn't make these ADA. And I was like, well, I said, no, they did, but you have to go down the building and over that way. I said, that's where the sliding doors open. And he's like, oh, okay, I didn't know. I was like, okay. I was like, but I can get the door for you. He's like, yeah, that's cool. And then I just felt almost obligated to like follow him to the elevator, click the elevator, make sure he got in, and then make sure he got it. It's just kind of like, I can't just in the door and then be like, all right, you're on your own.
That's right, you're on your own. I did my job. Yeah.
So that's something that I think that was a better experience for me, but I think sometimes it's they're kind of looking at you, right? Like, are you gonna help? Mm-hmm. You're like, I'm getting there, bro. Like I saw you. Like I'm gonna come help you. Somebody calm down. But it's just one of those things. Like, you feel then obligated to make sure they get to their destination.
You should be if you are a chivalrous person,
right?
Yeah, I think the key point to when you look at the definition, it's essentially be there for the week.
For the week?
No,
I don't know about the week.
Goddamn.
Yeah, no,
That's a long time, dog.
No,
maybe
a
a couple of-
readiness. Readiness.
Let's give you an opportunity to take week back.
It's a readiness to help the weak.
Yeah. You calling women weak?
Yes.
What the hell?
I just gave you a second chance.
Nothing like that.
I just gave you a second chance to take week back.
WEAK.
That's not what that is.
So what does chivalry look like today? Like, I mean, I know we all have kids, right? Is it something that you actively teach your kids about opening doors, about, you know, helping people? Is that what you do?
Yes.
David?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have they been like, why? But why?
Not my son.
Yeah, I don't.
He really has. I'm even thinking whenever he was little, just he didn't ever really question like, why am I doing that? And he, you know, he'll do stuff like open doors and things like that. And even if it's his positioning, you know, whenever you're in the way, essentially you're opening the door, but you're in the way. I mean, he'll still, you know, he does that. So it's just kind of just something. Maybe he saw a bit of what I was doing and what others were doing, and thankfully it's in that positive sense.
Yeah, and I think, well, DLH, you have a boy and a girl. Did you push it more on one than the other, or did you do it equally? Like,
yeah, equally.
Yeah, like
I mean, for me, it's more be aware of your surroundings, right? And if you're in a position to help, then help.
Yeah.
So and it could be as simple as that, like you're just opening a door for somebody who's immediately behind, right? And I think in a New York City mindset, you don't need to hold the door open for somebody who's like 2 minutes back that you think is walking in the direction. Like you're okay to leave.
Yeah.
But if there's somebody
like,
immediately
asshole.
behind you, then you hold the door and then you go through. But aware of your surroundings, because maybe you do see somebody struggling with 2 big boxes and a cake, and you offer to assist.
They're like, no, I was in the army.
If you can't, whatever. But maybe they take it, right?
Just kick that shit out there.
Whatever that is. But
so what do you guys think more on a deeper level? Like obviously we've described opening doors, but how about standing up for something or someone? Like what should
standing
be
up
that,
to who? The government?
Well, however, like let's take it a little bit deeper in that sense. And obviously what comes to mind to me now is everything that you hear and see with ICE and enforcement that's kind of become excessive.
I like my drinks neat, sir.
But I mean, at what point should a chivalrous person get up off the couch or take an action? And what should be that threshold? If you're a chivalrous person, like what's that defining line or not? And maybe it's not specific to that incident, right? But I mean,
So
how do you define that? Or
well, first is I guess you got to figure out what can you do, right? The specific events that you're talking about is a whole other fucking state, you know. I just don't know what you can do in Texas, San Antonio, Texas, you know, X number of miles away from where that's happening. Now there's stuff that stuff's happening here, but what can you do? Like what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like what are your avenues to be able to say, hey, at least I did something? I mean, do you get aware? I mean, like try to get awareness out there, like, you know, tell people about their rights, or do you, you know, post them on your social media page, which is, I mean, I think that's the extent that I do, is just like retweet stories, retweet articles about this is what's happening. But really, I mean, what have I done? I've not done much.
I personally get like a sense of guilt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
but it's like, how do you remedy that?
Yeah, no, I get that. But I also think, and this is where the guilt sets in. It's like, am I really taking the time to figure out what I can or should do, right? Because
we like to bitch about it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So for example, when I went to go pick up my son from school yesterday, one of the high schools that I passed, I noticed the normal route that I take, it basically was telling me to do a U-turn and go a different route. And I'm like, well, why? This is always the route that works.
Yeah.
Well, I got up close. I decided like not to believe the GPS and at least go take a look. Well, it was the reason is because traffic was essentially at a standstill because some high school kids participated in a walkout.
Roosevelt?
No, this was it would have been Stevens High School. Okay. But there was kids that had signs, and they were just walking, and then there was cars that had signs too, and they just kind of were impeding traffic in a bit. But I was like, dang, if I was to hit the rewind button, or if I was a high schooler today, would have I been out there, or would I have not? You know,
I would have.
Well, see, I
because I did in high school.
Well, I think I would, right? But it's also like, if these kids are willing to do it, why am I not doing it?
These kids with less power or less perceived power.
Yeah.
Even though it's more perceived, because they're the ones that are, if they were to vote, like if they're old enough to vote, I think they could shift everything.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
but yes, I see what you're saying.
And then the other thing too, and this was just more of not being aware that stuff was happening yesterday. But then in my social media feeds, I saw that San Antonio had a big gathering downtown, and it was like, dang, David, why couldn't you? Have
why aren't you out there, David?
Why am I not there, or why didn't
I'll text you all the information next time you go out
well, those kinds of things. I was in California this week too, and in California, I saw people just over a bridge with signs, and people were honking. Yeah. I honk, but come on, it's like, it's nothing. David, I need to do something. Like,
so in high school, I would do marches and stuff like that. We'd all, it seemed like we're marching about everything in fucking high school. In college, we did the same thing. At A&M, I think we went to Austin and joined their march. It was, and I think it's terrible. And I don't know if it's terrible to say, but I think it's like a young person's game. But anybody can do it, right? Mm-hmm. And I know there was the Martin Luther King march last week because it was Martin Luther King Day or whatever. And a lot of some of our brothers were doing it, and I thought, that's great, that's awesome. I've never done it, at least not as an full-fledged graduated from college adult. I think I did it more as an undergrad than anything. You know what I'm saying? And what does it do? I don't know. It shows that people are pissed off. I don't know. I think when you get to a certain age, it just becomes like, what difference does it make? And that's the problem with it.
Well, yeah, that's where the sad. It just makes you. I mean, maybe it's because all in all, you think like, is me retweeting it? Like I saw a post from a person that I know of. I don't necessarily know him, but it was like, if we're about this, why are we not doing anything about it?
Right.
Now, then I took that, and it just kind of put me in a deep thought, mainly because I started a long drive after that. But it was me wanting to tell him, making a statement is not necessarily doing anything. Like, if we're doing something, instead of saying, why are we not making a statement? It should be that person saying, hey, I'm doing X, Y, Z. Who's coming with me? That to me moves the needle. It's almost like we've had people come to us in the alumni association. Oh, you guys should be doing this. Oh, you guys should be. Hey, that's great. We don't need consultants right now. And
we need you to head it up.
Yeah, if they took the baton and said, hey, I'm doing this. Who wants to join me? Now something moves.
Right. I don't know, man. It's such a hard question to answer, especially being older now. I don't know if I even want to get involved, and I feel like I should, because I think it affects me and people that look like me, and I worry about my parents. I worry about my family. I just haven't taken the time to figure out what I can really do about it. And so, like mostly everyone else, I'm like, I'll retweet.
Trying to put blind, and I mean to a degree where we almost put blinders on it, and like I said, I know for me, like I said, it makes me feel like a inner guilt.
Like, no,
what the hell are you doing, David? Like, if this is not important to you, then what really is? Because
I look at people that are out there doing stuff, and I'm like, man, more power to you. Yeah. You're doing the Lord's work. You know what I'm saying? But
DLH, you've been quiet so far. What's your take or thoughts?
Yeah, I've been trying to keep it pretty much at bay for the sake of the podcast.
Why?
Because
what are you doing?
Because my doctorate is in criminal justice, and I have all the thoughts.
Well, I think we're talking about the work, not the thoughts.
That's the thing is, we get so inundated by right now in this particular climate right now, we get so many people that have their political identity is overweighing what is right versus what is wrong. Their integrity is being compromised for
the sake of agreeing
political
with one
party
side or the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are willing to overlook whatever, the minutia of what's going on now, simply for the sake of remaining in line with your party.
Yeah, tribalism.
Right? Now, when we think of this, I think this is worse than tribalism here. This is cultish.
Yeah,
yes,
no, definitely
this
cultish.
Is cultish behavior. If we were really going to think about this sort of stuff, we should understand that in the United States of America, we are governed by our Constitution. When we find anyone, find anyone who is in violation of our constitutional rights, we should all be aware and alarmed at that, right? And it's one thing to have them do that, but then to have them do that, have it be okayed, have them get away with it, have them get away with it again, have them get away with it again. And I don't care who you think I'm talking about or whatever it is. It really doesn't even matter, because for some, it may bring your attention to national politics. For some, it may bring attention to your local politics, because all of it is true right now.
Yeah.
Right? When there is a violation to your constitutional rights, your state rights, your municipal rights, those are things that automatically should make you get up and want to do something. Right? Because when you start to think about that, even if it doesn't impact you immediately right now, what if it does and no one comes to your aid, right? Because it's not at their doorstep, it's at yours.
Right.
And they don't care. They don't care. And you think at this point, everyone should care because it's impacting me specifically. Mm-hmm. That's what those people are going through right now. And for a lot of us that are not doing what we could be doing simply because it's not at our doorstep is insufficient. We should be doing more.
Yeah.
Now, for some of us, when these things are happening over in Minneapolis, there's not a whole lot that we can do in a legislative realm from Texas. But if we make it known that we are highly against that sort of stuff, whether it be social media or through whatever channels that you talk to people, and especially if you have any of the people who try to bolster or argue for the injustices that are taking place, then I'm not even asking you to make a political argument. It is a violation of constitutional rights. Everyone should be on the side of constitutional rights.
Yeah, but I think we agree on that. I think, but what David is saying is
there's a lot of people that don't. Even if we all agree on that, there's a whole segment.
But David's talking about what are you doing?
Anything.
Like, what are you doing?
That's the thing. Now, if it comes to Texas, because we know that Governor Abbott has signed numerous things here that are controversial, right?
Yeah.
Are you getting out? Are you getting out to protest? Are you like social media? Yes, that's convenient. It's
Absolutely
the easiest way to do things. But are there any protests that are taking place in your area? And are you going to those protests? Maybe if you cannot do that.
I know, but anyone can look that up. I think what David's question is like, what are you specifically doing?
Me as an individual?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Because David's saying, I feel guilty for not doing that. And I agree. I feel the same way. You're telling us what you should do and what we need to do more, but what are you doing specifically?
that would be the but if we put it on the individual, I can't ask you to not attend work that is going to be
No, but we're not asking.
And going
and that's why I limited it to me and mine.
Yeah. So what are you doing to do more?
Because like that's why I was saying I feel guilty because I see and know the things that you're talking about to a degree.
Yeah.
But why am I not turning that page and doing something? Like if I'm a
is it in your
chivalrous
realm though?
If I'm a chivalrous person, or I would like to think that, right? When is that? When does that trigger need to? And not from a gun. I'm talking about when does that trigger you to step forward as a chivalrous knight there for the week? Like when does that click on? I mean, I think the obvious things is somebody breaks in your house. You gotta step up. I mean,
Castle
it's
doctrine,
there.
sir. Castle doctrine. Just look it up.
No, which is a bad situation, but that's a conversation for another time. But I think that when you are like in your particular realm, right, as a citizen, but with a job and a family and whatever, there's only so much time that you can dedicate to certain things, and especially if you have any sort of limitations. I happen to be in the realm of criminal justice. So when I do things, and I don't know whether I'm teaching it in the classroom or whether I am doing something on social media or whether I am incorporating it into one of the publications that I'm submitting to be written somewhere, right? Like I am hoping to impact change. All of the things that I do may not be directly visible because you may not see until I reach that particular point that I am on or striving to be on an advisory board for the city, that I am striving to be on a particular board that handles whatever your issue is, right? Like in my area of research and trying to be on the board of directors for, you know, I don't know, your local rape crisis center, something like that, right? If you're somebody who's going to do some more of these immigration rights, then maybe that's your thing, is trying to find out for your city, what is your possibility of serving on an advisory board on your city level, which I don't know if a lot of people know that. You can look that up per your city and then see where the openings are, and you can apply to be on an advisory board. Citizen Action Advisory Board, like it may go by various names, but essentially that's it. Is that this board is made up by citizens?
Are you on some advisory boards?
Not yet. I have applied to be on them. I just have to wait until somebody contacts me and decides that I can be on that. But I have applied to be on boards, and these boards are for citizen like policy and then also for police oversight. So I have applied to several boards. I have also applied to be on a rape crisis board.
What board?
Rape crisis center.
Oh, rape crisis.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a Bexar County Rape Crisis Center here, and I'm applying to be on that board as well. But in addition to those, I mean, this is me. I don't have the same level of expectation for you because you're not.
No,
in this
and
realm.
I'm not saying to do that. I guess kind of going to the specific topic is, if you're a chivalrous person or someone who subscribes to that, what are the defining
do
lines?
what's in your means. Do what's in your means.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I understand that there's some people who maybe you're on your grind and you have to go to work every day because you're in a trade. You don't have the luxury of taking time off. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can't do that, right? But you can make your feelings known or the position known on social media. And maybe that's the extent of what you can do. Then do that, right? If you do have the ability to take some time off or can make one of those, protests that are taking place, then do that. But you're doing whatever you think you can in that area to make sure that you are advocating for those who can't advocate for themselves. I think that that's what's important. I feel the same. I feel bad all the time about this stuff, but I'm also at the mercy of who will, like all the gatekeepers along the way, who's going to let me on the board, who is going to publish the things that I am either in an op-ed piece or peer reviewed, who's going to publish those things. And then, and as I go into like the teaching forum and all that stuff, like all of this pressure I take with me.
Did you feel, because we have this podcast, and I mean, it's not like we have a shitload of listeners, right? We love all our listeners. We do.
They're all valuable.
Yeah. and trying to get my mom to listen. I'm just kidding. But do you feel like, because sometimes I do think it's like, hey, these guys are in San Antonio, right? There's stuff that's going on all over the country. Why haven't they said anything? We specifically not talked about politics. Yeah. Why do you think we've done that? I mean, why do you think we've not touched it?
You mean as a podcast?
As a podcast.
Well, for cancel culture. That's the.
But do we care about cancel culture?
We do. We all do, to some regard. Yeah, we all care about it.
I think most people try to avoid conflict to a degree.
Right.
So, do we want an avalanche of people saying, "Well, you guys are just this and that," and basically make it political? Whenever we wanted to be more broad and beyond. This stuff that men face,
and I think it does get roped into chivalry.
I do too.
It has to, because it's part of our everyday reality.
And there is a point in all men's lives where you feel like, man, I have to do something, and part of it is, if you don't do it, then you feel that guilt because you know what you need to do. Like most of us have that inner, that inner being that's just like, you got to say something, you got to do something. And I unfortunately get into a lot of discussions with brothers, with people that I meet, because I can let stuff go for the most part, right? But when you say something that's just inaccurate, then I have to say something, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a problem sometimes because you're like, man, I don't even want to discuss this, but that's not accurate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I run into the same thing with work stuff. Like I don't venture into politics with work stuff, but there will be times where a client or somebody is assuming I'm something, and they're saying stuff, and then it's like
David? Right? You agree with me, David?
Yeah. So as soon as they do, and then I tell them no. Like the other thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to just fold or conform. And you remember when we went to the cigar place, the guy at Fink's that sat down next to us?
Yeah.
At first he was going in one direction, and then it was like he heard the pushback, and then all of a sudden he was, oh yeah, that's blah blah blah.
Course corrected. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not that guy. Whenever to me it's something of value or of importance. Like, you can say that, haha, that's funny. Go ahead. But if you're going to ask me for my side of it, I'm not going to tell you something just so you hear what you want.
No, absolutely. I think I'm kind of the same way. And if you want to have a discussion about it, I'm all good to have a discussion about it. The moment that you start infusing other things, inaccuracies, like your own, like this is what it should be, that then I do have to push back, and that's with everything. That's with sports, right? That's with when you get the Cowboys suck, and I was like, okay, like what do you mean? Like explain, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay,
but the defense is more important.
No, I'm saying no, but I'm just using that as an example. Like when you start just generalities. Okay, I go, but when you say something that's just completely inaccurate, there's no factual basis to it. There's no events that lead you to believe that. Like, then I have to speak up. Something that is kind of along the same lines that affected San Antonio, and I know it caught my eye because I'm a civil. We do streets and stuff like that. Is the crosswalks?
Oh
in San Antonio, like. The fact that they, the rainbow crosswalk.
Rainbow crosswalk, yeah.
I was like, when I looked at it, I just looked at it as a, cost benefit, not benefit analysis. Like it's already done. You're going to spend money.
Yeah.
And who's spending that money? Is the city paying for it?
Yes.
Is TxDOT paying for it? Is the government paying for it to remove that?
Yes.
Because that's a cost. So who's paying for it?
The city.
The city is, right? Because that's what I read.
Yes.
And I was like, you should pay for it.
Well,
If the federal government has an issue, they should pay for it.
Well, and the thing is, too, that the money that was raised in order to do the crosswalks was not the city. It was raised by another agency.
Absolutely.
So do we reimburse that city now for erasing that agency? For
just as an engineer, because we do plans for stuff like that, and we do cost analysis. Like we provide a cost estimate, a probable cost estimate. And I was like, my first thought was like, who's paying for this? Because this is bullshit. If you're telling me I have to remove it on my dime, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I think they're
aside from who gives a
but their potential fix is because they now put the rainbow along the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, but
that was a great fix. By the way.
Now I don't know if you saw, but this week, now that it's completely removed, there was a wreck.
There was a wreck.
Yeah,
one of the brothers posted that.
There was a wreck on that street.
It's so backwards. Like, I'm like, why are we doing that? Along the same lines in Philadelphia, taking down, was it Philadelphia? They took down all those signs for it was like slavery and Black history.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're gonna take down the Liberty Bell pretty soon.
What did SNL's president said? You know, like big alphabet, the Statue of Liberty.
I think that's the challenge I would put out to people. Like, regardless of your political stance, I mean, get out of the freaking political realm and just think about what's right versus what's wrong. History is history. We cannot delete that.
No, you
right?
can't.
You can do your best, I guess, to try and hinder people learning about it, but history is history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the secret gets out. Just like with your own family, Tia may not have told you what she did back in the day, but then all of a sudden somebody knows, or the secret gets out, and then it's like, oh, Tia,
and we should be these are things that we should be advocating for, right? Like all the things that are
so what are we advocating for?
Well, I think that I think essentially what we're saying for this particular instance is that chivalry it has the potential to be far-reaching, right? You just have to know what your potential is for standing up for what's right.
Right. Yeah.
I think that to a large degree, if you can do it without great personal expense, then great. But at some point when things get worse, you're going to have to find some level of acceptable personal expense because you would expect this of others.
Yes.
If this was at your doorstep. Right? Do what's right.
Yeah.
Stand up for what's right.
And if you don't know what that is, you can email DLH at
and I will
David
be
Lopez.
happy to tell you.
No, I agree. Like and I think that's part of where chivalry comes in. That's part of us with our sacraments, with our fraternity. You feel what's right, and part of it is because we have kids. We've had those discussions with them. I had that discussion before, my son went off to college, before my daughter went off to college, about how to comport yourself, what happens in this situation, especially with law enforcement, especially because, it's like you're not always going to be there.
Yep.
It sucks that, oh man, I really hate going on social media. Specifically Facebook. Facebook is the fucking worst.
It's a toxic environment.
It's terrible. I kind of spend most of my time on Twitter only because I get what I get. Like, I get the people I follow, and they provide me the information that I need. It's mostly sports, but I do get a lot of politics stuff in it. My whole avenue is like transparency, right? It's this information. Not a lot of people know this information. I'm going to spread that information, and I try to be really good about kind of, is it a valid source? Is this something that's true? Is this, and then I retweet it or whatever I do. No, I haven't been on a march since freaking I was probably in my early 20s. But if you feel you have to do that, do it. Like if my son was like, I'm going to go on this march, I'd be like, be careful. Because, I mean, he's not that brown. He's not as brown as I am. But it don't matter.
Yeah. But see that the fact that has to even come up.
It is. Now
is terrible.
So
are you too brown? Are you too brown?
Yeah.
To attend.
I am.
To attend a protest somewhere because ICE may be.
Yeah.
They're waiting.
I I know a friend of mine jokes with me all the time. Anytime I piss him off, he's like, "Man, I'm calling ICE on you." And I'm like, "Don't do it, dog, because they will show."
It's just that, like this. I think chivalry shows up in many different ways, right? I every time bills come up, I am in the SAISD school district. My
Bills,
kids,
like what?
My kids don't. Yes, when bills come up for money that needs to for whatever it is for SAISD, and my kids are in private school. So they don't go to SAISD, but I don't decline that. I willingly accept paying more taxes for SAISD because I think that that's what we should do. There's a big difference in education, and it should be more equal. But that's a topic for another time as well. But
the next topic, just hang around. Yeah. It'll be.
But I think that's all part of it. Why shouldn't they all have the same education? And when laws come up, right, and we should be fighting some of the laws that are not equal in nature or that are going to disparage a certain group, right? Just because of their skin color or what have you. Like these are all things that we need to stand up for. And I think that everyone needs to get out of their comfort zone. Do what you can, right? Yeah. But not to take a great personal hit or lose your job or that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But you need to get out of this realm of like, well, it hasn't impacted me, and so I'm just going to let it be.
Yeah. We need to figure out what we're going to vote on. But I wanted to say this before because you guys, you know, we kind of, most of us grew up the same. I know David and DLH, we kind of grew up similar. I know I've gotten this, so I don't know if you guys have gotten this, but I have gotten calls from family members, from friends that are like, Jaime, what do you think about what's going on? Or when the election was going on, who should I really vote for? Because I hear this. And I felt it was imperative for me to go, look, I'm going to give you, you know, kind of the most objective view, and then I'm going to give you my opinion of it. And I won't let you decide whatever. I'm not going to push you one way or another, but I'm going to try to lay out as much information. I don't know if you guys have done that or have gotten those calls like I do, and I welcome those, like from especially people that kind of, they're asking for your opinion, you know, and so I have to be as honest with myself as possible. So those of you that are out there, you know, I'm freaking 51 already, so I'm already up there. I'm already up there, dog. Like people are calling me, like shit.
No wonder you're shedding.
It's you know, be objective about it. Give your opinion, but if somebody's actually asking you, then try to be as honest as possible.
Put some effort into ensuring that what you're giving them is worthwhile.
Yeah, accurate.
Accurate.
You know,
worthwhile.
accurate. You know, it's like objective. It's all that stuff. And then if they ask for your opinion, then give them your opinion. But like, try to lay out the information so that they can make a good decision.
Yeah,
I know. I got that. I got at least 3 calls, man, last election, and I know. Back to our text thread. I'm on a text thread with my family, and we discuss this all the time. We're Mexican, right? I was born in Mexico. This hits home for us. My dad just renewed his resident alien card, like, and we were a little afraid because that shit was taking a while. Yeah. Yep. It was taking a while. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I don't like that one bit. And so it does hit home, and you do feel guilty for not doing anything. But like DLH do, like DLH said, do what you can within your means. I think that's part of what our verdict would be. Mm-hmm. Do what you can within your means. Yep. That's one. What else do you got?
I would encourage anyone who legitimately has a question that wants to pose that to me via whatever our open channels are. I am not looking to convert people to whatever my political stance is. I am first and foremost going to advocate for the Constitution. Because that's absolutely the premise, right? That my doctorate, for those who don't know, is in criminal justice. And so if there's a question there that we need to discuss, whether it's email, text, or on the phone, especially if you're a brother, for our fraternity, then like feel free to contact me, and I will talk about the Constitution, not a specific political party. There's a lot to stand up for. There's a lot to do now. There's a lot that is at risk, and we need to do more.
Agreed.
There you go.
Sounds like a wrap. It's pretty
All right.
Pretty long.
So DLH's number is 555.
No, actually, if you want to email, you can use DLH at thechivalrychronicles.com, Jaime at thechivalrychronicles.com, or David at thechivalrychronicles.com.
Wow. All right, where's the gavel?
All right.
Hit it. Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on your social media, and or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram and X. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.